Merrin carefully looked at this man. The white robes obviously indicate him as a light mage, but he still looks like he's at a low level, probably just the 6th level. Everyone nodded. To tell the truth, this person didn't look like he could be compared to someone as strong as Merrin. However, Drunk spoke up. This man is named Garan, a light mage of the 7th level. 2 years ago, our group fought against him and suffered a small loss, although he didn't do much better. He brought a team of 50 people that managed to injure us, but in the end, no one on his team was left alive, except for him. Not only is this guy a light base mage with strong attack power, he's also skilled at summoning with light magic. He is very difficult to cope with. Zhao was surprised. He didn't expect that Drunk would know this person, so he quickly asked, "What is the origin of this person? Why did he fight you?" Drunk sneered. Light mages are hypocrites. They say that they're the voice of God and that light magic is the most valued out of all other magic, especially black magic. They use a variety of excuses to treat black magic as dirt. It was because of them that black mages on the continent are so unpopular. When we started robbing people, how could that self-righteous pompous guy miss the opportunity to show off against us? Zhao frowned. You've dealt with him before, and yet he seems to have the strength to provoke us. Do you know if he's gotten stronger? Drunk shook his head. I don't know. But I probably know who the 2 mages around Garan are. Although I have never met them, from what I could see on the surface, I guessed that these 2 are the Jishiling twins. Merrin nodded. Yes, they look like them. Although I have never seen their faces before, from their age and the way they're dressed, they are most likely the Jishiling twins. Zhao looked at Merrin with a puzzled face. Grandma Merrin, are the Jishiling twins strong? Very strong. They are both earth mages. Not only are they proficient in earth magic, they are also known to be able to summon a stone giant. Stone giants are earth creatures with a height of 8 meters. Their bodies are made of rocks, which they can also use as projectiles. The most important thing about these creatures is that as long as they don't leave the ground, their strength will never become weak. They are very difficult to deal with. Because these 2 brothers are very proficient in summoning, the Jishiling twins have become very famous. Zhao nodded, then he looked at the 2 yellow robe mages. To be honest, they looked exactly like what Zhao thought a mage should look like. They weren't young, looking to be about 50 years old, with some grey hair and a very long beard. Their bodies were thin, giving people a scholarly feeling. It was like looking at 2 ancient people who have spent their whole lives doing nothing but learning. This was completely different from what the light mage looked like. In Zhao's eyes, Garan didn't give him a good feeling. His boyish smile seemed too fake, the way he dressed was too smug, everything about him made it seem like he was a liar. Even though the Jishiling twins were also Zhao's enemies, he at least got a good feeling from them. Zhao then turned to look at the other 3 men on horseback. They were certainly the 3 advanced warriors. Seeing these 3 men, Zhao's eyes couldn't help but shrink. These 3 were too strange. When you looked at them, you would get a cold feeling, and it wasn't because they were wearing black warrior clothes. It was something about their temperament. Zhao knew that this was their killing intent, but it was different from the killing intent coming off the soldiers. It was cold and strange. In the battlefield, the killing intent from the soldiers would be fair and upright, as high as a mountain and as wide as the sea. But these 3, their killing intent didn't radiate as strongly as the soldiers, but more like a hidden snake slithering around. The danger you sensed from them felt disgusting. When Merrin saw these 3 men, her face changed. Although she didn't know who they were, she felt that these 3 men were up to no good. Just then they all heard Shift, the undead assassin, say, "These three individuals are so strange. They actually seem very familiar, like we used to know them." Zhao paused when he heard what Shift said. Shift didn't seem like a liar. If he said that these three men gave him a familiar feeling, then he couldn't be wrong. It seems like he had dealt with these people before. Shift could very well solve the mystery of their origins. With him, they may get to the bottom of who these forces belong to. Zhao turned to Shift and asked, "Shift, do you remember anything?" But Shift shook his head. "No, I don't. But I feel as if I should know these three men. It's very strange." Zhao was disappointed, but he moved on. He turned to Drunk and said, "Drunk, carefully look at the camp. We're going to attack them tonight, so remember their positions, especially where the assassins are." Looking at these people, it was clear that the highest amongst them were the 6 people on horseback, but apparently they weren't commanding this army. The one in command seems to be a warrior wearing ordinary leather armor. He was around 40 years old with a weathered face, and he had the ability to keep this army well organized. Zhao felt like he was watching a movie on TV about someone bossing people around to build the camp. In the middle of the camp were 2 large tents, ready for the 3 midges and the 3 advanced warriors. Everyone else was living in small tents. As the camp was being built, suddenly there was a light coming from the middle of the camp. The light midge was whispering a spell as he waved the magic staff in his hand. A mass of white light erupted and spread out. Marin was surprised as she saw what the man was doing. Emmanuel Ghost Probe. It turns out that he is actually an 8th level light midge. Zhao looked puzzled. "Grandma Marin, what is this Emmanuel Ghost Probe?" The Emmanuel Ghost Probe is a special kind of light magic. It is specifically used to find creatures of darkness. It is very sensitive. As long as it has anything to do with dark magic, it will not escape detection. Only a light midge of the 8th level can cast this spell. Zhao looked at the screen and muttered. It seems like it was a good idea to call Brick back, otherwise they would have found him. Marin nodded. "Ah, yes, even if you let Brick stay outside, he might have been able to escape those assassins' searches. After all, it would be impossible to look through all the mountains around the canyon. But it would be impossible for Brick to hide from the Emmanuel Ghost Probe. These guys are really cautious." Zhao's face grew heavy. "Yes, they are. Tonight's attack has to be successful. We can't let them prepare any more than this." He was about to continue, but then suddenly he received news of Green's return. Surprised, he immediately switched the screen to show the manor on Stony Mountain. When Zhao saw that Green was standing in the yard, he opened a hole to the space to allow him to step inside. When Green came into the space, they immediately greeted him, but then Marin looked puzzled. "Did you buy any rabbits? Why did you come back empty-handed?" Green smiled. "Do not worry. I bought some rabbits. I just asked the people from the Marquee Company to help me with shipping them over. But on the way back, I found that someone was following me closely, which made me afraid that something may have happened back home. I came back as quickly as I could." "So, did anything happen?" They all gave Green a wry smile. Seeing the look they gave him, Green's face changed. "What happened?" Zhao told the situation to him, then he switched the screen back to the canyon for Green to see. Green stared at the camp, his eyes flashing with coldness. "Well, it seems like they're not afraid of death. Master, tonight let's attack them." Zhao nodded. "We feel the same way. This time the enemy is very strong. One is an 8th level light midge, and the other 2 are Earth mages at the 7th level. They are also 3 advanced warriors, plus a few mid-level warriors and assassins. If we want to beat them, we have to try to find any clues that could help us. With that, Zhao moved the image on the screen to Garen's tent.